Hello everyone, my name is Birdman for obvious reasons, and today I want to speak to you about Horizon Zero Dawn. So, Horizon Zero Dawn is a PS4 exclusive that was developed by the guys who made Killzone, a first-person military-esque shooter. And their first project outside of the Killzone series is a third-person action-adventure set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland in which humans have basically gone back to being tribal. So it's kind of a departure, and I have a lot of baggage walking into this review because I'm not a huge fan of the Killzone series. I think they all suck except for two, which nobody likes. So it's kind of a weird dynamic because they go from making, PS4 exclusives, obviously, that are first person, to making a new IP that is completely different than anything they're doing. So, of course, I'm a little wary. But, I figured I'd pick it up, figure out what the big deal is. Everyone's talking about it, everyone's loving it. So I figured, let me pick it up and play it. So Horizon is set in a world after some disaster wipes out humanity, wipes out everything. And it's not like, Fallout where it's radioactive or anything, or zombies or whatever. It's just some sort of disaster, the fall of society, whatever. And what's left over is all the buildings and the metal and all this stuff. And for some reason, there's robotic creatures, versions of like horses and different animals and giant fucking things that it's really not explained, and that's kind of, I guess, the selling point of the game is why does this world exist the way it does? And you start off as this little girl named her name is Aloy, which is a play on the word alloy, just to kind of, I don't know. I think they're trying to be clever, but this is where, it's kind of falls flat like a lot of the storytelling in this game. Because this game is set, a couple thousand years into the future, so they have no remnants of previous life. They only know they call them the metal ones, so they refer to us as the metal ones because we're the ones that built all the stuff that they see. So it's kind of showing how the world will take what happened prior and try to make a story where they have no other information. So we start off as this little girl, and her father's an outcast of her tribe, and as a result, she's treated like an outcast. So they're basically, making fun of her, calling her motherless because she doesn't know who her mother is. And one day she kind of gets picked on and runs away and falls down to this place and finds this little triangular piece called a focus. And what that does is basically detective visions, where it lets her kind of access some of the old world technology. It lets her do some of the pathing. It also kind of points out enemy weaknesses, which she eventually used to be a really, really good hunter. And basically, as she finds this, she wants to know who her mother is, so the person that's basically taking care of her, the guy named Rost, is like, I will train you to become a brave, which basically means you go into the tribe and there you get all your answers. So, they go through a Rocky-style training montage as she goes from being, a 12, maybe 9 to 12-year-old kid to being, near an adult, maybe, 17, 18-year-old adult. And that's kind of where we finally start to actually get some gameplay in. So she goes through and, she completes the trial, and then what happens is there's a rival clan. They attack, wipe out everybody, and now that's where she becomes she becomes a seeker, basically the same thing as a specter, and now her mission is to go figure out why these people attack and also discover what's on her head, because these people also have it as well. And that's your basic introduction to the story. This rival clan attacks your clan for some reason, and now you're trying to figure out why they did it, and also get answers of your own. Now, as far as the gameplay, this is where it hits its first hurdle. The thing about this game is it is a amalgamation of a bunch of other games. It takes the kind of, crossbow, different arrow types from Evil Within. It takes the basic gameplay and crafting system of Rise of the Tomb Raider, mixing in with a lot of Far Cry Primal, where you jump and you can do jump takedowns and even upgrade to do ledge takedowns. But I think the majority of what it does take from is Far Cry Primal, as far as visual aesthetics, as far as even the same kind of weaponry. You have your basic bow, which plays a little bit differently than Rise of the Tomb Raider, but it's still the basic same idea. Then you have your spear, which is more of a... If you ever played Infamous, it's very similar to that system of press it a couple times and you can do a quick combo. But that's basically, the simplistic of the game. And that to me is where I feel that even though this is a new IP, it still takes a lot from other games as opposed to making anything on its own. The real unique thing about this game is the machines. is the fact that you're fighting these essentially in any other game to be some sort of demon or monster, but with this they're machines, and that to me is a lot of fun. You're fighting, a big giant thing like here. You're fighting this big giant thing, and you're moving, you're dodging, you're using all your abilities, and that's a lot of fun. And it's kind of fun to explore this world, even though it's not 100% original, but it does do a lot of original takes on it. Like it being post-apocalyptic, but still having the technology of the old world. It's interesting how it integrates into the lore of the story, which I feel is another weak part because it's not really that interesting for the setting that it's in. It does a lot of stuff where, because it's thousands of years after our civilization, they still carry a lot of the stuff, but the problem is they use very similar words, so it doesn't feel like in something like Far Cry Primal where they almost made up an entirely new language. Where this, it's like I didn't expect it to be all subtitled, but some of the dialogue doesn't feels commonplace. A lot of the way in which they speak. So, but with that and the gameplay is probably one of the best parts. But again, it feels not repetitive, but it feels familiar. Now, one of the things that did surprise me in the gameplay is, of course, you're fighting other machines and you're taking over machines and you're even mounting them in some cases. What I didn't expect, and maybe I just didn't watch enough of the gameplay at E3, because I watched the E3 stuff and anything that they actually showed, but what I didn't go into full detail because I never really do that. But what I didn't expect is actually finding a bunch of dudes. You're going in and finding bandit camps, and of course that makes sense. In this world, not everyone's going to be a tribal member. People are going to be outcasts. People aren't going to give a shit. So they're going to be bandits. I just didn't expect it. In this game, I expected it to be like Monster Hunter, where you're just fighting bigger and badder monsters. But the fact that you're fighting dudes is kind of, to me, it changes it up. So you're no longer just doing, I got to fight this big monster for the 15th time in a row. It's like, no. I can do a bandit camp. I can explore. I can fight a monster. I can discover new caves. So it does give a lot of variety in its open world. And I think it does flesh out its open world really, really well. All in all, I think that this game is decent. I don't think that it's particularly amazing, but I think it does a lot of interesting stuff, especially for, you have this developer that's been nothing but mediocre military first-person shooters, going to make a half-decent action-adventure third-person. So it's kind of interesting to see, they clearly wanted to do this. This didn't feel like something they had to do. They're like, no, we want to do something completely different. Wipe the slate, fuck Killzone. Let's do something different. It didn't nail, at least personally for me, but I think that there's a lot of good steps that I think a sequel to Horizon would work a lot better, because now we don't have to introduce the world and stuff. Now we could just tell whatever story we want in the setting. But right now, I wouldn't rush out to get it. It's a 6 out of 10 for me. Buy it, but you don't have to rush to the store and get it. You can wait on it, wait till it's a discounted, wait till it's a discounted price and you're not paying full price. That's everything I have to say. Birdman out.